India made space history earlier this week when it became the first country to land a spacecraft on the moon's south pole.
India's successful moon mission is not just India's alone.
Who will determine the rules of the game in space? Of course, the one who set up the game. The first person to discover something is the one who knows the details about it best until a better one comes along. But what if the rule maker has something bigger in mind? Located in the Milky Way galaxy, which hosts millions of stars, our Earth's satellite, the moon, one of the most important stops in humanity's space adventure. And this stop is also the address of new discoveries for many countries. Recently, the world has been talking about the last passengers of this destination, India, which is on an expedition to the fifth largest satellite in the solar system. Why? Because Chandrayaan-3, sent by India, was the first spacecraft to land on the south pole of the moon, which has not yet been discovered and where water is thought to be possible. In the face of this historical development, there is one of its rivals that has failed at the last step towards the same goal, and that is Russia. The country, which sent a spacecraft to the moon just 3 days before India, could not complete the mission successfully as Luna 25 crashed on the moon's surface, thus falling one step behind the space race. Alright, what now? What missions will Chandrayaan-3, which has started observing the moon, undertake? Will it reach the point where water is thought to exist in scientific research? Moreover, let's ask another question that is very curious. Is global competition turning into cosmic competition? If you are ready, we will discuss the answers to all these questions and many more in full detail. Thanks for joining on TCDF for today's journey. We work very hard to produce original content, so if you want to support our channel, please subscribe, like and comment. Thank you very much in advance. Space race, cosmic competition, galactic struggle, or astronomical conflict, whatever you call it, one fact is that we have already entered this race outside our own planet. However, just as in some cases there were hesitations in accepting new technologies or inventions, such as the discovery of electricity or radiation and X-rays, there was initially uncertainty for the discoveries on the moon. There was also concerns that sending people into space could be risky in terms of health and safety. Despite all these question marks, scientific discovery and military purposes attracted countries. The first lunar explorations took place between the United States and the Soviet Union, especially during the Cold War. Two global powers were in a great race for space and the moon throughout the 1950s and 1960s. As you may remember, America managed to send humans to the moon in 1969 with the Apollo program. Before this, the Soviet Union landed a spacecraft on the moon's surface for the first time in 1959. Many spacecraft, satellites, and exploration probes were launched during this period. Then we slowly started talking about international collaborations. The International Space Station, ISS, Artemis program, ExoMars, Change missions are the most well-known of these. When you think space, the first thing that comes to your mind is countries such as America, Russia, or China. However, there is one country that left all this behind and took a historic step towards the moon, to the dark side of the moon, where the sun does not see, that is, to the South Pole. India made history as the first country to land on the little-known South Pole of the moon, with the Chandrayaan-3 unmanned spacecraft completing its 1,000-kilometer journey. In 2019, India tried to land on the moon but was unsuccessful. After the last successful journey on August 24, America became the fourth country to land on the moon after China and the former Soviet Union. Let's say that the history of the Indian Space Research Organization, which carried out this mission, dates back to 1969. I want to open a small parenthesis here. Chandrayaan-3 made a soft landing on the moon. This landing, which is more challenging compared to hard landings, the risk of damaging the lunar surface is minimized. India Prime Minister Modi, who attended the BRICS summit held in South Africa, closely watched this historical development while he was there. Chandrayaan-3, sent by the Indian Space Research Organization, will serve on the moon for 14 days. The spacecraft consists of a landing platform and rover models aimed at examining the surface of the moon. Its mission is to probe deep into the moon's south pole, an uncharted region that scientists believe may hold significant reserves of frozen water and valuable elements. Here, it will examine the elemental compositions such as magnesium, aluminum, silicon, potassium, calcium, titanium, and iron contained in the lunar soil and rocks around the lunar landing site. It was previously thought that organic matter, water, and clay prevented soil formation on the moon, but new findings show the presence of water, which could drastically change views on soil formation on the moon. Yes, you heard right. There may be water at the south pole of the moon. Many scientists investigating the moon have not found any evidence that living things live on the moon. According to some, the moon may be colonized by humans in the future. This idea is just a theoretical discussion for now, but it may become more realistic depending on future lunar exploration and technological progress. If water ice were found in the south of the moon, it could potentially create a favorable environment for human colonists. The mission will help discover what types of chemicals are present in the moon's soil. According to the latest statements made by the Indian Space Agency, various elements were detected in the south pole of the moon, and the presence of sulfur was confirmed. One last development: India did not stop with moon journey. After the successful landing on the moon, it is preparing to launch a new satellite this month aimed at studying the sun. Thanks to the Aditya spacecraft, which means sun in Hindi, the Indian Space Agency will observe the activities of the star closest to the Earth from space for the first time. Then let's continue our moon journey from where we left off. According to this article from NASA, it has been confirmed that there is water in the polar regions of the moon. So it's now officially confirmed that there is water on the moon. This is really big news because it is an important step for new explorations on the moon and the idea of staying in space for longer periods of time. Therefore, the outputs obtained by Chandrayaan-3 sent by India may open the door to new studies. Another article states that beyond the presence of water on the surface of the moon, detailed studies are being carried out with various spacecraft to obtain more information about the amount and distribution of this water. Accordingly, water on the moon can be found in icy craters and larger areas in the soil. This information forms an important basis for long-term exploration and research of the moon. Well, what if I told you that the moon race also has a dark side, just like the moon has? This is not possible when it comes to signs of life and valuable elements such as water. You can also guess why the moon mission is so valuable for countries. Chandrayaan-3, launched on July 14, successfully completed its landings just 3 days after Russia's Luna 25 spacecraft crashed into the moon on August 19. Shortly after, congratulations poured in from Russian President Vladimir Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Although the race on the moon seems to be taking place especially among civilian space agencies for now, the basis of this race lies in the competition between countries, because space exploration and transportation capabilities to the moon are considered an indicator of a country's technological and scientific progress. Therefore, countries are trying to gain superiority by sending various missions to realize successful projects on the moon. Of course, the private sector is also in this competition. Let's remember NASA President Nelson's very sincere confession in recent months. We want to prevent the water on the moon from falling onto the hands of China. What about military intervention? Do you think the race in space will reach that point? Steps with military potential, such as placing missiles in space, have been taken in the past as part of the space race. Although the Soviet Union's Sputnik and Luna programs and the US's Explorer program actually included civilian purposes such as reaching space, they also had military considerations in the background. These were a military threat to other countries. It inevitably caused international security concerns and strategic tensions brought on by the race. We can easily say that the last game, which we can define as a victory for India, is a loss for Russia. A strategic period begins for China, which plans to send a mission to the south pole of the moon next year. While the one-year experience gained by India will be a gain for the countries included in the Artemis plan, it will also provide an opportunity for China to observe a one-year experience. It is said that Europe is left behind in the space race. To date, 11 countries and organizations have managed to send spacecraft to the moon. The USA has 32 completed missions in space, Russia has 23, China has 7, and Japan has 2. You can see the countries planning to send missions to the moon in the next 10 years on this map. Nuclear-armed India grew last year to become the world's fifth largest economy. The success of the lunar mission will also likely further boost Modi's popularity ahead of crucial general elections next year. So what exactly awaits us in the new space race? The goal of many countries is to reach the south pole of the moon. Moreover, as we mentioned at the beginning, to have a say on the moon. Russia has no attempt to send cosmonauts to the moon in the near future. However, we cannot say the same for China. China plans to send a crew at the south pole of the moon in 2030. NASA's Artemis 3 mission aims to land on the moon in late 2025. Considering NASA's view of China, the question is whether past tensions will resurface. However, the thing is that China is not very popular in space, so if water and valuable elements are reached, which country or countries will have the right to use them? Can the United Nations intervene in case of possible tensions? At this point, the conditions in the Outer Space Treaty are valid, but there are still weaknesses in its implementation. The provision and management of water for future human colonists will be a key element of establishing a sustainable presence on the moon. Humanity will look for ways to build their own living spaces not only on Earth but also on the moon. However, the risks brought by this cosmic competition should not be ignored. The space race also includes national security and military potential. Strategically important steps such as the discovery of water in space can also shape international relations. Then let's say this: discoveries in the surface of the moon have the potential to affect not only the depths of space, but also the future of humanity. It is difficult to predict where this cosmic race will take us in the future, but we can say that the doors of many new possibilities have been opened for humanity with new discoveries. I would like to finish the content with two questions. When you think about discoveries on the moon, what kind of world do you imagine in the future? Another question is, will global competition lead cosmic wars in the future? Thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more captivating content. Stay tuned for our next exploration into the extraordinary contents.